So guys, one of the main reasons you're not able to build that initial attraction with her, it's not because you don't have anything good to say, it's because you're saying it too logically. Okay. One of the biggest problems we have as men, especially if we're 35 or above, is that we tend to answer questions extremely analytically and logically. This reduces the chance of us eliciting emotion in her. This reduces the chance of us being seen as anything other than an individual who is extremely rational and logical. Now, yes, those are qualities that women might like and they might want eventually in a man. But for the initial meet, she wants to feel excitement. She wants to feel enthusiasm. She wants to feel something that will actually make her take notice and build her curiosity. Now, this is not done by giving logical answers to questions, despite the fact that it makes sense to you. All right, despite the fact that it seems like the right thing to do, it's not the best way to build attraction when you're initially talking with her, okay? So let's give some examples. Say you're out, you enter a venue, about 10 minutes into it, you notice a woman that you find attractive. Walk into the venue, you notice a woman that you find attractive. Now, because you've been listening to what I say, you build up the courage, you build up the comfort, you build up the confidence, and you build up the courage to actually walk up to her. And you just make a basic observation and you just make a basic comment. You say something along the lines of, now you start talking and she asks you questions that you assume are just basic logical questions. For example, why did you come here tonight? What are you doing here? Have you been here before? Any of these basic questions that are naturally going to come up. And what you do wrongly is you actually answer those logically. So for example, if she says, why did you come here tonight? Your logical response is going to be, it's been a long week, it was a busy full week, and I wanted to relax, so some of my friends and I, we decided to come here and hang out for a few hours. Yes, you're conveying information, you're addressing the question in a very logical manner, but you missed an opportunity to actually build excitement and to build interest or to flirt with her at that time. Anytime you're meeting at the early stages, within the initial few minutes, she's going to determine whether or not she actually puts you in the category of a guy who is just a decent guy that she wants nothing to do with, or the freaky guy that she just wants to get away from her, or the guy that she's curious about and might want to hear more about. So if you're saying something completely off to be done from the beginning, right? Those are the guys that the women actually want to get away from. So that's the worst category. But just almost as bad is actually her just seeing you as a friendly guy. You don't want her to see you as that. You don't want her to see you as a tiger without claws. You don't want her to see you as an individual who might have the presence of the archetypical attractive man. But then once you start to talk, there's nothing substantive behind that. So you decide to build up the courage, you walk up with her and you make a basic observation, or you say something along the lines of, I was on my way to order a drink and I noticed you, so I wanted to introduce myself. My name is whatever, right? Or you just make an observation about a drink that she's holding, or whatever your observation is. You start to open up a conversation. Within the initial few minutes, she's going to put you in one of three categories. She's either going to consider you the guy who seems off, who she wants nothing to do with and she wants to get away from, or the next category, which isn't good either, is that she's going to view you as just the nice guy, right? Just the friendly guy who actually seems cool, he's chill, he's whatever, but she doesn't see anything more than that other than a conversation, or maybe the guy that can just hang around with her and her friends for a few minutes and then maybe buy them a drink. Nothing good. Or finally, are you going to be seen as the guy that she actually takes notice of? The guy that makes her feel something initially, the guy that makes her actually curious to hear more, the guy that makes her actually curious to actually want to stay and hear more about you and engage in the dialogue to find out if she has more of an interest or if she would like this conversation to continue. Now, the way you're going to do that is by not being logical with all of your responses. Logical answers at this time is not at all what she wants. Regardless of the fact that she's asking a question, in her mind, she might actually want to know why you're there at this time, who you came with, if you come here often, if you're from the area. She actually might think that she wants to know that. But when you start to answer all of those questions logically, two things happen that are not going to help you build attraction with her. One is you're falling within her frame. If all the questions she's asking, you're just answering, and maybe you're reciprocating after that and saying, well, what about you? So why did you come here tonight? Did you come here with your friends tonight? When you start to answer her questions logically and just reciprocate those same questions, you're basically taking a back seat and allowing her to control the entire dynamic. This in and of itself, for the majority of women, is going to subconsciously convey an unwillingness to take initiative. It's going to actually put you in the category of so many other guys nowadays that are just basically there and they're not sure what to do in this situation, basically seeing where the conversation goes. They don't have any initiative, they don't take direction, anything like that. And that's not a good way to be. The other negative thing that it does is it doesn't allow her to feel any emotion behind those answers. When you answer everything logically, it is extremely difficult to have emotional responses to those answers. So for example, if she asks you what you're doing there tonight, who you came there with, and your response is, my friends and I, we've had a long week, so we wanted to relax, come here, have a couple of drinks, and just see what this place was like. Or we heard a lot of good reviews about this, we wanted to try it out and just see what we thought about it. That is just not going to get anywhere. Yes, those things may be true. And yes, she might be asking and curious as to those questions, but you're missing an opportunity to build attraction and to build interest by having fun with it. So instead of saying that, you can say a number of things, right? Anything that doesn't have to be even true, that doesn't have to be logical or realistic. You can say, my friends and I decided to come out to find trouble, and I'm talking with you, I think I actually accomplished that. Instead, say anything that's light, flirtatious, fun, joking, that can take you somewhere else in that conversation. For example, maybe say, actually, I was looking for some trouble tonight, and now that I actually met you, I think I actually found that. I was actually looking for trouble tonight, and now that I met you, I think I accomplished that. I heard they have the best margs here, so I need to check this out for myself since I'm a margarita connoisseur. I heard this is one of the best locations to actually meet women that are bad influences, so I figured I'd try it out. Anything like that that's not real, anything, and this is just off the top of your mind, just anything like that. It doesn't have to be rehearsed. It doesn't even have to make complete sense. It just has to be something that'll make her say, all right, that was something different. That was a different response. I wonder what that is about. Hey, you know what? I'm a big fan of trouble and I wanted to come out here tonight to find some. She's like, really? Why are you trouble? Then from there, now you're joking, right? Now you're joking around about that, about being trouble. And what you're doing is you're going to go along that theme and then you can put it back on her about her seeming as though she's bad, all right? Her seeming as though she's trouble. These are light things that generally tend to work because it's fun, it's easy, and you can actually take you to other conversations that actually gets to more interesting topics and they feel less inhibited to say things because it's not as logical. Now, these really do not have to make sense. They don't have to be, I'm not saying you say something that's off or strange. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying you say something that just can elicit fun, light, easy responses. And you do this, and it's going to change the dynamic that you start from the get-go, and then everything after that is going to follow from there. And eventually, of course, you're going to answer the question seriously. It builds up what you can ask them later. So if you start talking about things like say how you heard this location has the best margs in the area and you wanted to see if they were the best. Well, now logically, you're going to talk about margaritas and other locations in the area that have margaritas. And if there's one location that she likes or that you both like, it's an easy transition to set a light plan to go there eventually. We were talking on the theme of being trouble or drinking margaritas or liking to find places that have good margaritas in this area. Well, now, after about 10 or 15 minutes of talking with her, assuming that she's with friends, that she's going to link up with them, you cut the conversation. You say, you know what, hey, it was interesting, whatever, it was interesting talking with you. We should do this. It was interesting talking with you. Let's do this again over margs next week. Let's do this over margs in a few days. Let me get your number. You get her number, right? You get her number. And then you say, hey, you know what? It was interesting talking with you. It's been interesting talking with you. We should do. It's been interesting. You know what? I'm actually going to go link up with my friends again. They're probably wondering where they're probably, I'm going to go link up with my friends. They're probably missing me. They're probably missing me now. So I'm going to go link up with my friends. But it's been interesting talking with you. We should chat more over margs in a few days. What's your number? That is it. It's an easy transition. Then you get the number and then you go back to your friends. This doesn't mean you can't talk with her for the rest of the night. If later on the night she bumps into you again, she's going to be more likely to actually want to re-engage in a conversation if she found interest because she saw you gave her space. You were interesting. You actually had non-typical conversations. You weren't logical. These are things that are going to make you stay on her mind. And then if she sees you again later that night, you could restart a conversation, maybe take it from there, and maybe you'll end up hanging out for more like later that night. If not, you left a good impression and you basically already had what you're going to do set. And it's going to be a quick, easy text. So guys, don't be so logical next time, okay? When you're meeting her, don't be logical. Don't be logical. Just be exciting and fun. Don't assume that you always have to stick with a script. Go out on a limb. Just have fun with the conversation. It'll be more enjoyable for her and for you as well. All right, try this out.